All right. So, hello everyone. I hope everybody is doing fine. So today we have with us Mr. Rishi, who qualified his IPMAT exam in the year 2021, and currently he is in his second year at IIM Indore. So today he'd be talking about his journey. He'd be discussing his strategies, his success story, and he'd be describing in detail the interview, how did it go, and of course, towards the end, the life at IIM Indore after you've gotten to the other side, right? So all you IBMAT aspirants out there who are aiming to qualify the exam, make sure that taking a note and listening to what he has to say really, really carefully, right? So Rishi, I welcome you to the session. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great. So, Rishi would be doing majority of the talking from now on, but I will get into the program, right? So that if there's somebody who's joining us for the very first time would know what the exam is all about and would make more, sense to you as to what Rishi has to say about it. At the end of the session, we would be taking up questions from the audience. If you have any questions that you want to ask about the exam, about the institute, about the strategy, anything at all that you have a question about, please feel free to post your questions in the chat box. We'll be taking them up towards the end of the session, right? So let me brief you people a little bit about IPM first. So IPM, it stands for Integrated Program in Management. It offers you a 5-year integrated course, that is BBA plus MBA, right? And it gives you admission into IIM Indore, Ranchi, Rohtak, and other non-IIMs as well, right? You have Tapni, Bangalore, and you have, IIFT. So such institutes also cater to your score for IPMAT, right? So IPM has 2 entrance tests. First is IPMAT and the second is GIPMAT. Talking about IPMAT, it stands for Integrated Program and Management Aptitude Test. GIPMAT stands for Joint Integrated Program and Management Aptitude Test. So IPMAT specifically is conducted separately by IIM Indore and by IIM Rohtak. So talking about the exam pattern for IIM Indore, it has 3 sections. The first 2 sections are on quantitative ability, and the third section is verbal ability. So the first and the third sections are in the MCQ format, and the second section is in the subjective format, right? The marking scheme is basically you get +4 for every correct answer and -1 for every incorrect answer. That is the pattern for IIM Indore. Talking about IIM Rohtak, the pattern is pretty much the same with just one difference. In IIM Rohtak, we have a subject called logical reasoning, which is not there with IIM Indore, right? Another major difference between IIM Indore and Rohtak is that for Rohtak, your marks that you get in the aptitude constitutes only half of the weightage. The second half of the weightage is given to your scores in your 10th and the 12th class, right? So if you are an IPM aspirant, please make sure that you're scoring good in your 10th and 12th standards so that you're able to fulfill the criteria of the weightage, the second half of the weightage, right? I think that is pretty much it. Yes. Another very important thing, the IPMAT exam for this year was conducted on 2nd of July and for IIM Indore, and that for IIM Rohtak was conducted on 26th of June. The result for both of these exams was out on 7th of July, so you can find the result, the tentative list on the official website. I think that is pretty much it about both of these exams. So now over to Rishi, who would be giving us, an advanced and a more experienced insight towards the exam. So Rishi, why don't you begin by introducing yourself?
My name is Rishi Heda. I'm from the city of Kolhapur, which is in South Maharashtra. A little about me: seek discomfort is a philosophy I always try to live by. I consider myself a health freak. I work out every day. Other than that, I love watching Formula One and shows like The Office. Yeah.
Right. That's great, Rishi. So anything else apart from that? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your free time apart from watching movies and all that?
I also trade in the stock market. I've been doing that for the last 2 years. So I'm really into that. Other than that, my long-term goal is to be an entrepreneur. So I just like to read a lot of business news.
All right, that's great, Rishi. So, Rishi, was it always your dream to qualify the IPM to get into the to the IPMAT exam, or did you have some other plans also apart from this?
So I think till 11th grade, I had no idea what I wanted to do in life. I had taken commerce, so immediately I had eliminated half the engineering college, all the engineering colleges. I couldn't do biology, so I had to either take arts or commerce. So in 11th grade, I got to know about this exam of IPMAT, which is for IIM Indore. Obviously, I heard the word IIM and then I checked it out. Then I checked out the eligibility criteria and got to know that there are only 120 seats back then, I think. So I think that kind of scared me right from the beginning, but it was also kind of inspiring. Like it inside, I really felt that I wanted to take that challenge. So in the start of my 12th, so exactly 1 year before the exam, I think I started preparing for it.
Right, right. So that brings me to another very important question. How were you able to manage, strike a balance between your boards and then the preparation for the exam? How did you manage that?
How did I manage that? Okay. Again, so the maths quants part in IPMAT, I think a bit of the portion of maths in my 11th, 12th, and that in the IPMAT exam coincided. So I paid extra attention in those topics. So that was very easy to do. Other than that, I think you really have to make a strict schedule. Suppose you give, I personally gave the weekends only to IPMAT prep. And throughout the week, I gave a majority of time to my 12th board exams and save 1 hour to the IPMAT preparation.
Okay, all right. So it must have been very hectic for you, the entire process, right? So what kept you motivated throughout this time, Rishi? What was your source of motivation?
Again, every time I thought that maybe this is too hard, I just used to go on YouTube and watch some IIM Indore campus tour video, maybe, or something like that. And then again, the motivation was back up again, I think, for at least that week. And also the fact that I really, really wanted to get in this institute because, again, once I do get in, it would be the cream of the cream, like the very top people. And I really wanted to be one among them.
Right, right. That's really great. So now, if I talk about your strategy, what was your strategy towards the preparation of the exam? And did you just appear for IPMAT or did you appear for GIPMAT as well?
I'll take the preparation question first. So while I started my preparation, first of all, I had a look at the previous year's papers. So if you like thoroughly analyze all the papers, I think you'll find a pattern. Like similar questions are being asked every year. Take for example logarithm or sequences series. If you like really really go to the nitty-gritties of the paper, you will see that there's a pattern. Like for example, if you go to verbal ability, you'll see that at least every year 3 to 4 idioms or phrases are asked. So I did like I think 500 idioms before the exam. I just did not want to leave any scope out. So that is one thing. I think looking at the previous year's papers is really really important. Other than that, I think advanced math is quite important for the exam. So I also paid extra. Personally, I'm weak at math, so I paid extra focus at that. Answering your second question about the colleges I applied to. I only applied to two colleges. That was IIM Indore and NMIMS Mumbai. So while preparation, I was pretty sure that I would clear the NPAT. I mean, that sounds a bit overconfident, but then yeah, I was pretty sure I would get into NPAT. So if not IIM Indore, that was my only backup option.
Okay, right, right. That's really great, Rishi. Okay, so what was your family's reaction when they came to that qualified for the exam and they're getting into the esteemed IIM Indore? So what was their reaction towards it?
Again, this journey, it was not only me, it was like my entire family from day one. The day I got the interview call, I remember my father, he used to send me these interview videos from YouTube every single day, like watch this, watch that answer, look how he answered that and learn something from it. The day I did get the final result that I had been selected and that I was AR 39, I think my mom cried for like half an hour. My father just left work. He came back home and then he said he wanted to just be with the family. And even my brother and sister, they were like both really, really proud of me.
That's that. I mean, that is a source of achievement. When you're able to make your family happy, they're able to, say that, my son did that, or my daughter. So that's like a height for your life, right? That's really great. Okay. So if for the aspirants who are, planning to appear for the exam that's next year, what suggestion would you give for the section-wise preparation, Rishi? Like for English, for example, if there's somebody whose verbal is not really strong, so what suggestions or tips would you give to somebody like that? And the same for quants as well.
Okay, I'll go section wise. So for the first question, that is short answers in which you have to type in the answers. There is no negative marking. So never ever leave any question. Again, there are some tricks that like if you don't know the answer, just guess either 0, 1, or the total number of equations in that question. I mean, there are many tricks like that. So don't leave any question in the first section. For the second section, I think it was personally the toughest for me. Usually what I've seen is you don't really need to attempt all the questions. You only have to attempt, say, 50 to 60% questions with 80% accuracy, and that is good enough. So always remember that if you've prepared well and you feel that the paper is very, very tough on the day of exam, it is tough for everyone. It is not just tough for you. So keep that in your mind, and at the end moment, don't just mark any answer you think is right in the second section. You have to be really, really careful. For the third section, VA, you can't do that overnight or say even over a week. You have to put in consistent efforts throughout the year. Uh, do reading comprehension, say 5 of them a week, I'd say. You can do that. Idioms and phrases, again, you can make an entire list of the most basic, most common idioms and phrases, learn them. Don't leave anything to chance. After that, I think there's para jumbles. Again, that was a bit tough for me, but then you'll only get it after practice. So keep practicing that. Again, you won't get it overnight. You won't get it over a week. You have to put consistent efforts, at least for VA.
Okay. And for the verbal part, Rishi, would you say that reading or inculcating a reading habit support you or helped you in solving the questions, whether it is para jumbles or RCs for that matter? Do you think it had any contribution towards
Yes, so I strongly think that a good, like, once you read, you don't exactly know the technical things in the grammar, but then while answering, somehow you understand that this is the right answer and this is not, because you've read it somewhere, because you've read some essay, some news article. So I do think that reading really helps, and yeah, eventually it'll also help you in the interviews if you say read a decent newspaper or news articles every day. It is going to help you in interview. It is going to help you in VA. So why not do it?
So what were some of those newspapers that you referred to? Any favorites that you had?
Uh, I think the editorial parts of the Hindu are nice. Other than that, I just used to open Google News or something on my mobile and then read the top 15 articles that were showcased every day.
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of questions from students saying that, ma'am, how do I improve my vocabulary? How do I improve my, English? So it is basically the reading, you knowing different words, having access to different vocabularies, the only way that you can do it. And of course, practice, you being confident in the language, the way that you speak it becomes very important, right? It helps you further in the GD part also, if there is in the PI rounds also, right? Okay, so if you could recall your exam, how would you identify it? Was it like easy to medium or medium to difficult? What was the standard of the exam?
Okay, so my exam, again, the kind of questions I was expecting, they were asked. But then the only difference was every year the data interpretation part, it was usually very, very easy, but only in the exam I gave, it was incredibly difficult. I mean, it would have taken easily 15 to 20 minutes of everyone. So that was a real shocker for everyone, I think. Those are the marks I think everyone took for granted that wo to ho hi jayega. But then that was not the case that year. So I think I did get a bit scared, I'd say, in the exam that this is actually quite tough. But then again, I did whatever I knew first. And in the end, even from DI, I think I was able to solve 3 confidently. I left 2 of them out of the total 5.
Okay, right. And which section do you find more difficult? The quants part, the subjective part, or the objective part?
I've always found the second like, MCQ quant part very difficult. So even on the exam day, I thought it was a bit difficult, but then yeah, I got through, I guess.
Okay, so now that we have talked about the exam, we've talked about the family's reaction. Could you please describe to our viewers how was the interview? How was the experience of the interview, at the IIMs? Could you please describe that experience for us in detail, maybe?
My interview was quite a blunder, I'd say. So the moment I got in, the interviewer, she asked me 8 geography questions. I think I did not know 6 of them. So in the start, first 6 questions I could not answer.
Right.
I just smiled and say, I'm so sorry, I don't know the answer. Haven't been in touch with the geography part. So they asked me questions like, what is a delta? What is the difference between a sea and an ocean? Which river flows from west to east? I mean, that is pretty basic stuff, but I did not know any of it.
Right.
I was not able to answer that. Then we got into they asked me what was my background. I said I was commerce with math. So they got into the 11th and 12th portion. Since I told them that I also trade in the stock markets, the interviewer at that very moment made a question including the topic limits and stock market and asked me a question on that. So also be very careful, like whatever you say in your introduction, that will be again asked in the interview. So if you're really, really confident about it, only then say that. So I was able to answer that question, but that was a bit tough, I think. Later on, I was grilled in maths and economics also. I was strong in economics. Maths question again, I think I could not answer 2 of them out of total 8. Uh, Again, so basically, I was really unsure if I'd get in after the interview. But then till the very end, I think I kept my energy intact. I kept smiling and said, I'm so sorry, I don't know the answer. Uh, and yeah, I think that worked pretty well for me.
So you would say that, whatever stream that you have in your 12th standard, it actually influences your questions that might be asked you in the interview, right?
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. If you're from commerce background and you've taken economics, I'm pretty sure they're going to ask you economics or accounts in detail. If you're from PCM background, I mean, the cohort of questions that can be asked is even more. So yes, you have to be strong with your 11th and 12th portion.
And also, I feel, Rishi, whatever that you're talking in your introduction, like obviously the major question that you get in an interview is, to introduce yourself. That's the very first question that is asked. So whatever that you tell during your introduction, whether it is your hobbies, it is your likes or dislikes, strengths and weaknesses, you basically can be grilled on those parts. Also, you need to choose your words quite wisely. Is that right?
Definitely. I mean, I heard one of my batchmates say that he likes to play basketball. He was asked who won the Olympics in basketball and all kinds of questions. So if
Right.
you say something, you really need to know everything about it.
Right, right. That's amazing, right? And so, do you think, like you said, that there were a couple of questions that you did not know during the interview? So, do you think, like just accepting that, okay, I don't know the answer, rather than assuming or guessing the answer, that is a better trick, just to say that I don't know the answer to this, so I'm really sorry, and then can we move ahead? Is that the right approach?
So while answering, I did say that I'm not sure about the answer. Can I take a guess? I asked the interviewer that, and
Right,
they said yes, yes, go on, try. Only after that did I try. Again, my guess was very, very vague. Also, while answering, suppose you're confident about an answer, like very, very confident, stick with it. I remember there was one answer I was sure about, and the interviewer said, I think that's wrong. Going to give you a second try.
yeah,
And then again, I said the same answer. And they just said okay, and then acted like that was the wrong answer. But then post interview, I checked it, and that was actually the right answer. So they
right.
was just testing my confidence. Again, don't be overconfident. Don't be overconfident with the wrong answer. But then, if you're really, really sure about it, stick with the answer. It just showcases your confidence.
So it's basically not just the knowledge that you have, but of course the body language, the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you're sitting, your facial expressions, all these things also play a vital role in the interview, right?
Personally, I think it's at least 60 to 65% your confidence and the rest your knowledge. I mean, I could not answer at least 10 questions and I'm still here. So I think I was confident, and that's the only reason I got through.
Right. And how many interviews were there? I mean, people who were taking interviews, was a single person or was it the entire?
There were two people. So they are actually my faculty now. So one is our calculus teacher, and another one was our economics teacher.
Right. Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, any tips that you would want to give to our viewers, any IPM aspirant, what they should keep in mind when they are appearing for the interview?
Again, I think the only one word you need to know is confidence. Please prepare your 11th and 12th grade if you've gotten the interview call, or if you do get the interview call, don't leave that out. Other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, amazing. So, what is the status of co-curricular activities at IIM Indore? Like, are there a lot of activities, events taking place around here?
There are every week. I think there'll at least be 4 events happening. Every festival there is, the activity club here is very active. So we celebrate all the festivals in campus, and that too at a huge scale. Again, there are two fests which are only IPM related, and then again there are PGB fests going around throughout the year. So I'm pretty sure you won't be bored, and there are some fun activities happening every single day. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So, now, as I feel, at times what happens is whenever somebody is preparing for any kind of competitive exam, they tend to get really demotivated, right? Like there are places, where you're feeling that things are not going according to you or how you planned, or maybe you were expecting a better score in 12th standard, let's say, and it was, you were not able to get it or something. So now that you have a success story to talk about, right? So what do you tell to such people who are not really motivated or who are constantly being demotivated about the situations and things like that in their life?
To answer that, I think I'll delve into my preparation time. So during COVID, my family and I made a decision that it wasn't safe for my grandfather to go out. So I had to go and help my father out in our family business. So that included me going to work every single day, 6 days a week for say 7 to 8 hours. After that, I had to come home. Even during work, I had to find time to study for my 12 boards or IPMAT, or after coming back home, I had to find time to study. Again, it was very, I'm only saying this because I understand that everyone faces setbacks. I don't mean to dwell on my story and then how I've beaten odds or something. Again, if you feel that you are in an unfair position, that others have it better than you, please know that if you're really looking for reasons, you will find reasons as to why you cannot get in or why it is unfair to you. But then again, you really have to push through it. I mean, every day was very challenging for me, but then still, I knew that I wanted to get in. I wanted to do it for my parents. And if you really want to, you will find the time, you will find the motivation. Don't find reasons why you cannot do it. Just find that one reason why you can. And then, yeah.
Yeah, so basically everybody who has an ambition in life, there is always, something that influences them in their life. More often than not, it is basically your family, somebody who's coming from a humble background, somebody whose background is not that economically strong, so their motive, that becomes a motivation. That they want to give a better lifestyle to their parents, for example, or, want to earn well so that they can take care of the parents or the siblings, or at times it has happened with the peers also. Some people are like really competitive. So they're like, my friend has done this, so then I have to. So it's basically, it works differently for different people. You need to identify what is that source of motivation that keeps you driven. Because of course you can have a lot of reasons to, not give your 100%, or to drop out, or just say that okay, I can't do it. I might as well, take a shortcut. But then if you are taking the hard way, of course the results, when you're climbing something really difficult, the view is always good at the top, like they say, right? So that's pretty much very important. Right. So Rishi, anything else that you would want to tell our viewers? Anything at all?
I mean, if you're not feeling motivated any certain day, just close your eyes, and visualize the day that suppose you get the IIM Indore call that you have been selected. I used to do that a lot. Just close your eyes for 5 minutes and think how it will be for how happy your family members will be, how happy you will be that you finally achieved it, and then yeah, just power through and give it your best shot.
Right, right. That's really important. Like, for example, if somebody who's planning to go to the example that I can relate to this, let's say somebody who's wanting to get a six pack or something. So usually what people do is put up a poster of a person with six packs on their rooms. They're able to see it every day. That works the motivation for them. So it works differently for different people. It's that you need to be very consistent. I feel perseverance is the key to success, irrespective of what competitive exam you're preparing. And also another thing that I feel, Rishi, I think you would agree with me, is that about IPMAT or the IPM, I don't think a lot of people are aware about this exam also. Right, so it actually, what do you think now that you are in the management field? Would you suggest that people should, aim for IIMs after graduation, or should they do focus on it after the 12th standard right away? What is your take on that?
Okay, so personally, I think there are not many options for people who are planning to do commerce or get into the business field after 12th. I think IIM Indore is arguably the top two options in India. Um, if you so that's that being said, after 12th, I think for me it was the best option. If you really want to go, say you think that IIM Ahmedabad is the best IIM and really want to do MBA from there, you can always drop out from Indore after the third year and give CAT and go to IIM Ahmedabad, right? And there are many students in IPM. Like every year, I think 10-20% of the batch they do drop out and get calls from all the top IIMs in India. So that is always an option for you. And if you do not, you always have the option of staying back at IIM Indore, which is also again the fourth best institute in India. So I think it's a good bargain.
See, what I feel is for CAT, if I talk about CAT, is like one of the most popular competitive exams that you have in India. So when you are appearing for CAT, let's say after your graduation, the amount of competition that you get is vast. It's huge. There are thousands and lakhs of people who are appearing for the exam. But if I talk about the IPMAT exam, first of all, not a lot of people are aware about it. They're slowly getting aware about it. They're getting information about it slowly and steadily. So of course, that first of all cuts out your competition. You don't have to compete with a lot of people as compared to when you have to do it with CAT, right? And then, of course, another, if I compare both of these, is that you have an access to three IIMs here, but with CAT you get, but then it's all about competition, especially in a country like India where you have such a humongous population and there are a lot of people stretching towards just one seat or that one vacancy. So it's always a smart approach to do that, right? So, do you think that when you're preparing for such exams, CAT or others, so do you think that, for example, like we have negative marking here for the exams, so set selection or knowing your areas of strengths and weaknesses is important?
Yeah, definitely. Again, as I said, IP math is not about answering the maximum number of questions. It is only about answering the maximum number of questions you know are right. If you go to the paper, you just cannot answer any questions randomly and afford to lose marks to negative marking. So in that way, it is more than a knowledge. It is also mental. I think that are you able to keep your calm after seeing very tough questions and only come back answering say 40% of the questions.
Right, right, right. So basically, whenever we have at HitBullsEye, when we have people with us, the students who are enrolled with us, our suggestion to them is always that give as many mocks or practice papers that way, so that can help you channelize your energy. At the same time, you would come to know about your strengths and weaknesses. So once you're appearing for mocks or questions like that, you're aware that okay, I'm really good. For example, if I talk about myself, my maths is just like you, a little haywire, right? So my verbal part is stronger. So when I am aware that okay, my strength is English and I can take away time from that and give it to quants, that is actually a good strategy. The first thing that people should know, any aspirant for the matter, is to focus and to know exactly what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. So if you have longer amount of time to prepare, let's say that you have 5 to 6 months for preparation, let's presume that, right? Or you have made it an aim in your 12th standard once you get to 12th standard. So by the time when you know that, okay, these particular things are my strengths and these are my weaknesses, so over time you can work on strengthening your weaknesses, working on your weaknesses and trying to, turn them into your strengths. And then when you're closer to the exam, let's say you have 1 month left of the exam, you can just give up on the weakness part and then choose your questions accordingly. Like, for example, if I talk about myself, I am not really good with quadratic equations, for example, or for geometry. So I might as well just skip that question because I know there's going to be negative marking in it, and I might as well attempt easier questions. So it is all about strategy, all about knowing yourself, all about having self-awareness about the entire thing, and then going ahead with the exams, right, Rishi?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
And then again, of course, the aptitude exam is followed by the PI round, which is also equally important. So for PI, like Rishi said, that you need to be smart again, you need to act very confident even if you're like scared inside. You need to showcase that smiling face and portraying that, I am cool, I am okay. So that actually the pretendance is actually the key towards the interviews. And then, of course, the way that you're dressed, your body language, if you're able to, let's say, maintain eye contact with the people, who are interviewing you, that actually adds a lot of effect. Like he said that he wasn't able to answer a lot of questions. He was a little haywire there, but then again, because he was very confident about the entire thing, he was able to crack the exam and look where he is today. So it's all about knowing yourself and then again, not giving up on certain things and focusing on the entire thing. Right, Rishi?
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
Okay. All right, Rishi. So it was really great having you with us today. Right. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time to be with us today. And all the viewers, I hope you have taken note on what Rishi had to say, his views, his the experience talk that he had after having gone to the other side. Right. So thank you so much, Rishi, for joining us today. I wish you all the best for your future. Any parting words for our audience, Rishi?
Not much. I mean, give it a best shot. Hopefully, I'll see you at IIM Indore.
So you're senior there.
Yep.
Then you know that, okay, we had seen his interview on HitBullsEye, and that's where he is, right, Rishi? So
Yep.
thank you so much. Have a good day. I wish you all the best for your future, and I hope whatever that you're aiming for, comes true. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.